Oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator. And a lot of people have here. So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime.
Yes, want to stop crime. The Democrats celebrated yesterday. There was a murder in Washington, D.C., bringing the streak of no murders to an end at 12 days. So Democrats are high-fiving. All right, that's a loss for Trump. They don't care about human life, about the man gunned down in Anacostia, killed, because it's a win for them. It's funny being a Democrat, isn't it? I find authority always wins. A very good Wednesday to you. It is hump day in the Clinton household, as you may already be aware. And that means, what does that mean, Michael? That means it is mailbag day here on the Chris Plant radio show, where I take questions provided to me by Michael and by Kevin and from great Americans like yourselves. And answer your many questions, at least a number of the questions, because only so much time in a 3-hour radio show, not enough for all the crazy Democrat stuff. But yes, and then there was another terrible thing with a couple of Utes and a stolen car crashed into and killed a lady in Washington, D.C. The problem is not our guns, it's your sons. Stop raising ruthless, bloodthirsty killers, and everything will be better. And so the problem's not police. You're right. The problem is Democrats and people that call themselves parents that aren't very good at it. That's a generous understatement, the very definition of generous understatement. But that's not all, because I wasn't even aware of this till I heard it on the radio, an excellent radio broadcast this morning, where a man he's identified as a Democrat as well. A Democrat, here's the headline. Man faces felony charges for spitting on National Guard soldiers in D.C. That's one of the headlines right there. And that international news covering it, too. D.C. resident on e-scooter, one of those electric scooters that you rent, faces felony assault charge after spitting on National Guard. And it's it gets, I heard that and I said, oh, that's interesting. And I need to update you, because I said, well, I heard that, so I need to look it up. I went to, where did I go? I went to Al Gore's Amazing Internet. That's where I went. I went to Al Gore's Amazing Internet, and I went searching for the story. And I found the story. And WUSA 9, that's the CBS affiliate in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. The headline is, even better, listen to this. Lawyer charged with spitting on 2 National Guardsmen at Union Station. A lawyer. And it turns out he's a Maryland lawyer and a Democrat, and he self-describes as a liberal. And tragically, the guardsman shot and killed him. It was like a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song. It was honestly, it was like Kent State all over again. All right, they didn't really shoot and kill him. That's it might have flashed through their minds momentarily, but it turns out the people at Channel 9, lawyer charged with spitting on 2 National Guardsmen at Union Station. That's our big train station in the shadow of the United States Capitol, the domed building, Scott Pichon, Pichon. His first name is Scott. His parents decided to name him Scott. Maybe in the delivery room, maybe before they got to the delivery. We'll call him Scott. Scott Pichon. And they're so proud he went to law school and he became a lawyer. Scott Pichon allegedly spat mucus. I like that detail. That's a nice detail. Mucus. That means, I guess, he cleared out his sinus passageways or something. Going like this, and because he went to law school, Scott Pichon allegedly spat mucus on 2 National Guardsmen patrolling near Union Station in D.C. And they write, a Maryland lawyer. See, that's a good, strong lead. Now, these people are doing the news. They're doing journalism right here. A Maryland lawyer faces a felony assault charge for allegedly, here's the video, spitting on 2 members of the National Guard at Union Station. just after 4:40 p.m. on Friday. 2 South Carolina National Guard members were patrolling in uniform outside Union Station when a man, a white man, identified and charging documents as Scott J. Pichon. Scott J. Pichon. And man, oh man, I'm just telling you, rode up to them on a Lime scooter. That's the brand name of the rent-a-scooter people, and they're lime green. They're bright green scooters, electric scooters. You can rent them if you have a wish to do so. Rode up to them on a lime scooter. In a statement of facts, Amtrak Police Sergeant Robert Underwood said he heard a noise like Pichon was coughing up mucus and then saw them spit saliva and mucus on the 2 National Guardsmen, because turns out he's a Democrat, and this is what the Democrat Party raises people to do. This is what Democrat parents produce in the United States of America. His spit stuck, one guardsman in the face and the other in the neck, according to a statement. Had to be a lot of, like a mouthful of, because the guy, assuming that I won't even go there. According to a statement of facts filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., Pichon, who is 33 years old, was arrested on a federal warrant on Tuesday. That's yesterday. Now, this happened on Friday, and he was arrested on a federal warrant on Tuesday and made his initial appearance in court the same day, that's yesterday, on felony charges of forcibly assaulting and making physical contact with the National Guard members. Magistrate Judge G. Michael Harvey released him on his own recognizance. I'm guessing that G. Michael Harvey is a Democrat as well, because the fix is in. It's like some kind of redneck town movie from the, set in the 1950s, where the judge is the cousin of the sheriff and the guy that spits on the black people is their other cousin. This is the Democrat Party in 2025. So Magistrate Judge G. Michael Harvey released him on his own recognizance without objection from the U.S. Attorney's Office. During the hearing, Harvey asked Pichon to verify his highest level of education attainment, Juris Doctor, Pichon said. Maryland State Bar records show Pichon has been licensed to practice law in the state since 2019. He should obviously be disbarred and sent to his parents' garage, where he could build a fort, over the Subaru, get some plywood and put a platform up on the planks and he should live up there. Man, oh man, oh man. 200 South Carolina National Guard troops were deployed to D.C. in addition to the district's troops early last week. They're joined by forces from West Virginia, Ohio, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The National Guard has been patrolling D.C. since August 11th as part of President Donald Trump's federal policing surge. The Democrats are against police. They're against the military. They're against stopping crime. They're against reducing murders. And I played the audio for you yesterday I think it was from President Trump's cabinet meeting that went on for longer than the movie The Godfather. Went on for longer than the movie The Godfather, the cabinet meeting. And it was completely open to the press, and they had to stand for 3 hours. 3.5 hours? 3.5, something like that. And where they had the press people had to stand because President Trump was busy being open and transparent. But never mind that. Pichon is not the first person to be charged with assault during the federal surge. Another man, Sean Dunn, S-E-A-N, last name D-U-N-N, was arrested 2 weeks ago for allegedly throwing a Subway sandwich at a federal officer. He's become a hero in D.C. They've got posters of him up around the city because they won't stop until there's full-blown civil war in the United States and Western civilization. U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Jeanine Pirro, you may know her as Judge Jeanine Pirro, now she's U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, said that he would be charged with felony assault, though he was released after prosecutors said they had no basis to argue he should be detained. Sure, well, he's a lawyer from Maryland. He ought to show up in court. Maybe he'll flee to El Salvador and join MS-13. Amazing stuff. So Pichon was ordered to return to court September 17th for a preliminary hearing unless a grand jury indictment is returned first. I think maybe that'd be better, and then a pre-dawn raid. And I hope his dog doesn't get in the way. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to have to look up where he went to law school because I think we can find that. Scott Pichon, Pichon. If he works at your law firm, you should all be put out of business. But that's your Democrat Party. This is what they do. And also, Channel 9 misses a couple of things because there were other arrests just the other day. I mentioned them here, as a matter of fact. Other arrests of Democrats that assaulted D.C. police and National Guardsmen. And keep in mind that when Joe Biden called up 25,000 National Guard troops from around the country, all 50 states, plus 3 territories, plus the District of Columbia. Joe Biden called up 25,000 National Guard troops for his inauguration, and thousands of troops stayed in Washington for 4 months. Democrats, there were a number of troops staying in a concrete parking garage in Washington. They ordered pizzas from a pizza place in D.C., and when the pizzas were delivered by Democrats, they discovered that the Democrats had smashed up glass and sprinkled the shattered glass into the pizzas that they delivered for the National Guard troops to eat. This is the Democrat Party, and they're not good neighbors, let's just say. Where was I? I was recently at a political event in Virginia, and people there were telling me about how they now put up Trump signs in their yards just to count the hours as to how long they last before Democrats come and violently destroy them because they're Democrats. You know how they are. So I wanted to share that with you because the Democrats are on the march. And again, what we had almost 12 full days without a homicide in Washington, D.C. Democrats were angry about that. And so yesterday, a man was shot to death and murdered in Anacostia, and police found him on the sidewalk having been shot. He was transported to a hospital, and then they tried to save him, but they couldn't because the Democrats had shot him. And now the Democrats can say, see, Trump didn't stop murder it was just 11 and a half days. And then the Democrats got to back to killing people. Yesterday, when the news broke, I shared it on our text thread. And I said, what did I say? A big win for the Democrats here? Yeah, a big win for the Democrats because they don't want Trump to be successful in stopping murder from happening in Washington, D.C. Don't be ridiculous. They have to put an end to that streak. You know, in a streak of no murder in D.C. Oh, what did I texted? The Democrats are making a comeback. Democrats are making a comeback. Last night, Washington, D.C. homicide-free streak ends on day 12 with a fatal shooting is the headline. And I shared it with my Kevin and Michael and Randy on our text thread. And I said, the Democrats are making a comeback.
It feels like hope is finally making a comeback.
Yeah. Woo! They love the shooting. Isn't that great? Also, I've got President Trump yesterday held maybe the longest cabinet meeting in the history of cabinet meetings, and it was with the press in there, I think, the whole time. And it was quite extraordinary. It really was. It was like a Hollywood movie, but longer, and just extraordinary. The headline from the radical left-wing extremists at Mediaite, 5 wild moments from Trump cabinet meeting that lasted longer than The Godfather, lasted longer than the movie The Godfather, you know, and that great stuff. And they're upset about that. It's called transparency. And it's his 7th cabinet meeting in 7 months. Joe Biden held 1 cabinet meeting in his first 7 months, but he didn't know what month it was. So that's in his defense. Big fun at Vanity Fair magazine. Some discussion of putting renowned international supermodel and First Lady of the United States on the cover of the magazine Vanity Fair. And half the Democrats that work there, which is everybody that works there, half of them are considering self-immolating. They're talking about resigning and storming out in a huff if you put a renowned fashion model First Lady of the United States who speaks 34 languages. She speaks 5 or 6 languages. Put her on the cover and they'll leave. They'll leave. Isn't that amazing? These people. Also, illegal aliens in Germany stab an American young man in the face. He was trying to defend a woman that was being harassed by Syrian criminals who are there illegally. And this guy's face is never going to be the same. Stabbed up his face like nobody's business. ICE slams New York City for releasing a Dominican man charged with child sex abuse. He's an illegal alien from the Dominican Republic arrested on child sex abuse. And they're like, let him go. Come on, we want him back on the street. He's a future Democrat voter. That's amazing stuff. More from the DNC in Minneapolis, and the walls are closing in on the Democrats. We are at 888-630-9625. I'm looking at the mailbag. I'm going through the mailbag questions here. And I see some fun questions. But in my brief 3-hour-a-day show, 5 days a week, the Democrats provide me with a bounty that not so long ago would have been unimaginable. They love illegal aliens. Do you see another illegal alien truck driver named Singh, who killed 2 people plowing his 18-wheeler into the back of an automobile with a mom and 2 kids, killed the 2 kids. This is just 2 years ago now. 2 years ago. Another completely unrelated to the other Singh that killed 3 people in Florida. And I got to say, my friend Matthew Foldy sent me the story this morning, and I responded, Sing, sing, sing. You know, it's a S-I-N-G-H, S-I-N-G-H. It's from the Punjab. I see a pattern emerging here. I mean, what are the odds? Seems pretty extraordinary, doesn't it? Also, the New York Times, very angry today. Very angry New York Times people. Michael Schmidt, he's a Democrat typing on behalf of the Democratic Party. And he is paid by the New York Times because that's how that works. New and breaking. And they've got all capital letters. He's putting out his own statement here. DOJ, that's the Department of Justice, but we all speak in government-ese now. DOJ is investigating whether FBI officials during and after the Biden administration tried to hide or secretly destroy documents as part of a decade-long conspiracy to protect then FBI Director James Comey and former FBI Director and CIA Director John Penitentiary Face Brennan, who voted for the Communist Party candidate for the presidency of the United States, Gus Hall. And it looks like the FBI was destroying and hiding documents because they're Democrats. Have that coming up. Got a big update on Cracker Barrel, too. Cracker Barrel. President Trump yesterday posted on Truth Social a suggestion for the people at Cracker Barrel to bring back the old logo and get rid of this new bad logo that they came up with, the new Coke version of Cracker Barrel. And most people didn't remember New Coke, but New Coke, some people at Coke decided, Coke is old and stale, like Bud Light. We're going to rebrand it. We're going to have an all-new Coke. And then they made it taste bad and put it back on store shelves. And everybody said, what are you people, idiots? And then they fired the guy who came up with that bad idea and went back to the regular Coke. However, the best Coke today is the Coke from Mexico, Coca-Cola. If you like Coca-Cola. And I do. And the best Coke because they use real sugar and not high fructose corn syrup, which is in there for political reasons in the United States. But that's not important now. The Mexican Coke is the best Coca-Cola that you can get, and it's in a lot of stores. It's in a lot of stores around here. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on. Almost all of it is because the Democrats, some Democrat somewhere had an idea. I've got an idea. Let's get rid of Coca-Cola. Let's get rid of Bud Light. Let's get rid of Cracker Barrel. Let's pretend that boys are girls. Let's act like illegal alien gang members are better neighbors to have than Leave It to Beaver and the Cleaver family because they're hostile to civilization. They're the left. Also, I've got a I just got I guess it's a meme. It's a meme that I just got. I want to share it with you in a moment. But first, let's go to the telephones, Michael. We're at 888-630-9625. Let's go to David, calling from the Garden State of New Jersey. David, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Good morning, Chris. Love the show. Been listening for 5 or 6 years. Just wanted to give you some information. I used to teach diesel technology, and there were an awful lot of Sikhs in the classes. They all have the last name of Singh.
It is a very common last name
in English, and it's a religious thing.
Yeah, it's a they're Sikhs and mostly from the Punjab, so they're Punjabis. Yeah, but Singh is a very common name. But when you have I mentioned earlier, I think that's why you're calling, because that's Mr. Singh, Harjinder Singh, was driving the 18-wheeler in Florida when he did the illegal U-turn and a minivan crashed and 3 Americans were killed, 3 human beings were killed. And then we learned that Mr. Harjinder Singh got his commercial driver's license, the CDL, to drive the 18-wheelers. The big rig got it in California, and that the test they have for drivers of the big rigs, one of the tests, a couple of different tests, one of the tests has 12 questions, and we learned that Mr. Singh got 2 of them correct and couldn't answer 10 of them. And they're like, what the hell, give him a license anyway. What's the worst that could happen, right? So there's that one. And then a friend texted me this morning about and in fact, it was Matthew Foldy again, who I mentioned a little while ago. But Matthew Foldy sent me another one from April 18th of 2022, Highway 401, Belleville, and let me see, in India, what are they calling it? India, Terrio. And it turns out that another guy named Mehak Deep Singh crashed into an SUV, killing two children, and that he was apparently sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2022. But go ahead and guess he's probably out now because that's the country that we live in. Isn't that amazing? But you're right. It is a very common name. That said, how many illegal alien Indians named Singh can we have crashing and killing people in the United States before somebody raises an eyebrow? I guess that's what I'd say, David.
Yes, sir. The only thing, the ones that I taught in school, they were all English speakers. They were hardworking guys and mostly in the trucking industry.
Right. Yeah, look, I've got nothing against
teaching them diesel technology.
Yeah. I spent a few weeks traveling around India doing a documentary film on outsourcing of jobs a number of years ago now, I guess about 15 years ago, but traveled around India and loved India and loved my travels there, Delhi and Mumbai and Bengaluru. I love Bengaluru in Karnataka. Great stuff, and ancient temples, and the people are wonderful, and working with a lot of young people who are working in call centers and all of those locations, listening to Americans calling in about various things. So it's a great country, a great people, but this is getting a bit ridiculous, David. I've got to say that when you have how many of these driving trucks crashing, killing people from India illegally in the country, and Democrats, and honestly to me, David, maybe the biggest part of the story, certainly out of Florida, with Harjinder Singh and 3 people being killed there, is why did the Democrats in California prioritize giving a commercial driver's license to an illegal alien who can't speak English and can't pass the tests, when they would never give a commercial driver's license to a white guy from Los Angeles, or for that matter, a black guy or Latino guy from Los Angeles who couldn't speak English and couldn't pass the test? David, I don't think that California would have given them the commercial driver's license, but I think they gave Mr. Singh the commercial driver's license knowing that he's illegally in the country, and had he not been illegal, he would not have gotten the driver's license.
Well, Chris, as you say, the answer is Democrats always.
It really is, isn't it? It's a crazy, crazy thing. But David, I'm very happy that you called in, and and thank you for that and listening to the show. And you've got a specialty background for this topic also.
I surely do, sir. I'm still in the business.
Is that right? Very, very
Yes,
good.
sir. I inspect cars for the extended warranties when they blow up.
Really, when they blow up, which hopefully they don't do that frequently.
I don't know. Everything breaks made by humans, so.
Yeah, that's true enough. True enough. All right, David. Thank you very much. A realist, an honest man. See, isn't that great? The country is full of realists and honest men. Yeah, Mehakdeep Singh crashed into an SUV, killing 2 children, April 18th of 2022 on Highway 401. Isn't that amazing? And 5 years in prison. Now, illegal alien? I don't know. It doesn't say in this story. You got to look deeper because a lot of times Democrats report things and they leave out important details. They leave out vitally important details. But you know how they are. Now, thanks again, David. The meme that I just mentioned getting, which is funny and cruel at the same. Well, it's not cruel. No, it's scratch that. It's just funny. But I got a meme of a and it comes in on X from McGill's, and McGill's has a photograph. Now you've been following the wonderful story of Cracker Barrel and how they decided to rebrand their logo and change their peg game, which is on every table in a Cracker Barrel restaurant. It is my best girl and I. It's our favorite place to go if we're on a road trip, which we don't do enough of, but, we work too much. Had more time, we'd do more road trips. But when on a road trip, you see the sign along the side of the highway that there's a Cracker Barrel in 10 miles. Well, like Cracker Barrel, 10 miles, now we know where we're going to eat because we're going to wait 10 miles with great excitement and anticipation as we approach a Cracker Barrel. And then we get to go, and whenever I'm there, I always like to sit on the rocking chair on the front porch and just rock back and forth and say, these things are so comfortable. Why didn't everybody have rocking chairs? And then you get back in the car and you get going. You usually get gas too. Hopefully, get gas there too. But could minimize the number of stops you have to make. Cracker Barrel and gas, same thing, and good stuff. But the Cracker Barrel, all kinds of things happened with Cracker Barrel because they did this rebrand. They brought in a board member who came from a DEI background, diversity, equity, inclusion background. And then suddenly Cracker Barrel started changing the company and the brand and the logo because lefties, I'm going to go ahead and say that the DEI hire was a Democrat because that's true roughly 100% of the time. You can take it to the bank. And so then they started changing everything. They got rid of the Cracker Barrel logo, and the American people rose up a bit, didn't rise up, but said, are you people idiots? Do you learn nothing from Bud Light? Do you learn nothing from all these idiot companies that engage in this left-wing stupidity? And then President Trump told them what to do yesterday, and then they did it. And I've got President Trump urging them to do the right thing. And then they did the right thing, and they said, okay, we've heard you. We're gonna change back to the old logo. We've pulled the plug of this whole thing. Now they got to fire the DEI person that came up with these bad ideas. This is like they hate an attractive blonde woman in jeans. They're demented. They want to engage in genital mutilation of children. They want to bring more illegal alien gang members in from Latin America and spread them around the country. And we got another one with the child rapist in New York, and they let him go as soon as he was arrested. He's an illegal alien, and he's arrested on child sexual assault. And as soon as he's arrested, police arrest him, and the Democrats say, let him walk. We want more of that. And that's the Democrats, them by their deeds, by their actions, by their policies. But let me get back to this this meme that I got because it made me laugh when I saw it. There's this old custom in America that when you have too much in the way of clothing, and Michael mentioned like the losing team in the Super Bowl, and they've made 1 million T-shirts for, let's say, the Chicago Bears, Super Bowl champs, and then they don't win the Super Bowl. Well, what do you do with all these T-shirts? that say the Bears won the Super Bowl when they didn't win the Super Bowl. You know what happens to them? We crate them up, we put them on ships, and we send them to Africa. This has been going on for decades now. And then you see kids, people, adults, everybody all over Africa wearing these T-shirts that the United States just kind of dumped on a charitable organization, and they give them away, right? So the picture here is of a young man, an African man, in an African village with a thatched roof hut behind him, looking terribly impoverished. A woman back there, she looks impoverished too. And the skinny kid with a somewhat distended belly, so it looks like he's starving. And he's wearing a Cracker Barrel T-shirt with the short-lived Cracker Barrel logo on it, with this is the logo that they abandoned, but they made up the T-shirt. So here the meme is already out that the T-shirts have been shipped to Africa, and a skinny black kid with a distended belly is wearing the Cracker Barrel T-shirt with the logo that didn't go anywhere. Isn't that amazing? Just great stuff, I've got to say. Yes, sir. So we've got that. But how did that happen, and how did that happen so quickly? Kind of amazing, because President Trump told him what to do yesterday, and then they did it. President Trump on Truth Social, he doesn't use Twitter because he's got his own platform, Truth Social. And President Donald J. Trump on Truth Social wrote yesterday, Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo, admit a mistake based on customer response, the ultimate poll, and manage the company better than ever before. They got $1 billion worth of free publicity if they play their cards right. Very tricky to do, but a great opportunity. Have a major news conference today. Make Cracker Barrel a winner again. Remember, in just a short period of time, I made the United States of America the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, it was dead. Good luck, President Trump wrote. He wrote that yesterday morning, and it was 10:39 a.m., and I laughed, and it was funny. And then yesterday afternoon, Cracker Barrel said, you know what we need to do? We need to do, and I'm sure they didn't say it this way, exactly what Trump told us to do, because he knows our business better than we do, apparently. And the Cracker Barrel people came out yesterday, and they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go back to our old logo because we've listened to our customers, and we're going to bring back the old logo and pretend that this never happened and send the T-shirts to Africa. And then after they did that, President Trump tweeted out, this is pretty funny too, and he did this at 7:42 p.m. last night. He said, congratulations, Cracker Barrel, on changing your logo back to what it was. All your fans very much appreciate it. Good luck into the future. Make lots of money. And most importantly, make your customers happy again. You could turn that into make your customers happy again. That's, MYCHA, something like that. Make your customers happy again. But President Trump was all over it. He was right. Look, the American people were right. And Cracker Barrel made the mistake of hiring some lefty from a DEI peddling outfit who came up with this lame idea. And I got to say, I think Cracker Barrel's behavior, their response will be the new model for corporations. Instead of being another gang of idiots, another dumb corporation, I think they become the example that everyone is going to have to be aware of, every corporation should be aware of. So you don't make the mistake in the first place. But if you do make the mistake, which you should stop doing, should have stopped long ago, then you say, you know what, we're going to have to do a Cracker Barrel here. We're going to have to flip-flop, do a 180, go back to where we were, admit we were wrong. That will become the Cracker Barrel, as opposed to being the Bud Light, the Bud Light, because that Harvard lady, Heinerscheid, Alyssa Heinerscheid, she was the DEI VP that they hired to say, let's ruin Bud Light. Learn, pay attention, learn stuff. I got a Taylor Swift update, too. She's being canceled by the Democrats. That's coming up. Yeah, Democrats very upset with Taylor Swift today. I'll get to that. And there's a bit more on the Cracker Barrel story and President Trump and and the company, they botched this one big time. All right, let us go back to the telephones, Michael, and there's more and more and more from all of the crazy people. Coast Guard making a big drug bust. Democrats are angry about that, too. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Chris calling from Marshall, Virginia. Christopher, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good afternoon, sir. The front line of the heartland, of course. You ever wonder how I can call in so frequently? I drive. I've got a license with every endorsement you can get. Hazmat, double, triple, everything you can think of. The trucking community is outraged about Haagen-Dazs Singh. And there are enough holes in that story you could drive an 18-wheeler through. They did not cuff him at the scene of the crash. I will not call it an accident because it was not accidents have to meet certain criteria. This was a collision or a crash. They did not cuff him. They did not arrest him. They put him up in a hotel that night. They let him return to California, and I maintain, and many, 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 many other drivers do, they wanted nothing more than for him to disappear back to India because they only arrested him 3 days later in California after the video leaked.
Right.
One other curious issue is, what are the names of the victims?
Yeah,
the people?
I keep talking about that. We haven't, they're not George Floyd, are they? They haven't become household names, have they? You know
and
why,
the family
Chris?
has a right for privacy to a degree, but this has become such a national issue that that their names should be released.
It is remarkable. I have mentioned that repeatedly here at the radio station myself. Yeah, why are their names? I haven't seen their names anywhere. And yeah, you're right. It's a big national news story. And we all know George Floyd.